Hey guys, it's Julia and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. So this video is basically my nose job Q&A, nose job journey, do's and don'ts before getting a nose job and after a nose job, all mixed up into one. So basically this is everything you need to know about nose jobs before you get a nose job. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every Saturday at 3 p.m. EST, which is 12 p.m. PST. And don't forget to hit the notification button so you don't miss any of the videos. And give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see more content from me. Also, please ignore my overgrown bangs. I straightened my hair and I really just don't know what to do with them. They look super crazy right now. My most asked question was like why I got a nose job in the first place and just explaining my journey. So I'm gonna do that first. Then I just want to share with you some like rundowns on like costs and recovery and all that, and then some do's and don'ts, and then we'll get into the Q&A at the end. So if you're new here and are not caught up on all my previous videos and didn't know that I got a nose job, you can go click my nose job vlog playlist or any of these 5 nose job vlogs. I would suggest watching them in order because there is a method to this madness, but make sure you guys catch up on that if you want to see the real-time experience of a nose job. Check it in these vlogs. But let's just go ahead and get into everything you need to know before getting a nose job. Okay, so basically the reason why I got a nose job in the first place, well, it all started out when I had a little baseball incident at 10 years old and I was wearing glasses at the time. My dad and I were playing catch in the backyard and he threw a pop-up ball and it hit me on the bridge of my nose. So that was the first time that I really like either broke or just injured my nose so badly that this part, the bridge, flattened and there were 2 bumps, one on this side, one on that side, and you could see it when I would turn my head like 3/4. You didn't really see it when I was all the way to the side, but you saw it when I was 3/4. So that was like the first major nose injury for me. And then I keep touching my hair. Sorry. And then over the years, I walked into walls, I walked into doors, I had friends' heads hit me in the nose, just random accidents that have happened to either break or injure my nose. I've never gotten an x-ray, but the bone definitely had some fractures according to the 2 doctors that I had check it out. So over the summer in August, I re-injured my nose again, and I was just like, you know what, I'm tired of this bump, I'm tired of the tip being drooped down. That was not an injury, that just was like something I didn't like about my nose to begin with, and I'm just tired of my nose being like super bulbous and like drawing attention to my face. I know it wasn't, I didn't have a bad nose to begin with, and like anyone else who looked at my face and saw my nose was like, your nose is fine. Like no one would ever say like you have a bad nose, but it wasn't about that. It was just like I didn't like this part of my face. I'm on camera a lot and I have the ability to change it. Why not change it if it's gonna make me feel better? And I know that's not always the solution to things. Like, you know, you have to learn to love yourself as is, but at the same time, me changing my nose was not gonna hurt anyone as long as I'm honest about it. I'm not like, yeah, like I just grew a smaller nose, guys. Like I didn't do anything, I didn't have surgery. Like I'm not lying to you, I'm not lying to anyone. So that is like the reason why I had a few injuries to the bridge. I never liked the bulbousness of it. That's just natural, it's how my nose is. I mean, not when I was younger, but as I grew up, it grew with me. I didn't like how the tip drooped down. You know, here are some pictures of before what my nose looked like. Like I said, it wasn't a bad nose, but I just wanted it to be smaller, in my opinion, cuter. This is no dig at anyone else's nose. Like it was just me and like my opinion of myself. I really didn't have anyone saying you have a big nose. Like it was no one really like in my face. It was just like a me thing. And I was like, well, why not? So these are my before pictures of my nose so you can get like a good idea of what it looked like before. And if you know me before and you've watched my videos, and I think you can tell there's a difference. Like I've talked to friends and some of them had no idea that I had a nose job. They couldn't tell, and some of them could. I thought everyone was gonna be able to tell, but it is a really subtle change, and some people have had drastic nose jobs where it's like, oh, you look like a whole different person. But for me, like my changes were really subtle and they weren't that noticeable to begin with. So it's still my nose, but it's just like slightly different. So here are some pictures of me with the cast on. You can see what it looks like, get an idea of it, soak that in. And then here's my nose now, obviously. It's like, has a slope, it curves up, and I'm like patting my nose. So it's like pointed up, whereas it used to be just kind of like out. They pushed it in so it doesn't stick out as far, and they shaved the bridge so that way the bumps are no longer there. Oh, and then they also like slimmed it down on the tip and in the front so it's not bulbous. So it's overall like the same nose, but pointed a little bit more up, a little thinner, a little smaller, no bridge bumps. I think it looks like how I always wanted it to look. Basically, before I even got the nose job, I would always Facetune my photos if my nose looked a little like I would just like fix it up like ever so slightly to look how it is now, basically. I mean, I think now it looks even better than how I used to Facetune it. Definitely looks even better than how I used to Facetune it, but I would try to Facetune my nose to look like this. So going into this, I didn't have unrealistic expectations. I really knew what I wanted and I went for it. I wasn't like, hey, give me Madison Beer's nose, or like, give me Ariana Grande's nose, or give me, who else has a cute nose out there? There's so many people with cute noses. Just some celebrity's nose. You know, I wasn't going in saying that. I was going in saying, hey, give me my nose, but like change these things. And that's like the best way to go about getting a nose job. You want to be realistic in your expectations so you're not disappointed at the end. All that being said, now we're gonna get into some questions that I came up with that I just wanted to share with you. Why did I choose LA to get my nose job? And I went back and forth on this because my family, I'm right now currently living in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia to be exact. And my family's here, so like it would make the most sense to get it done here. But when I was younger, like 18 to be exact, I decided to get a little bit of work done in Philly. And I don't want to say I was botched because it wasn't like completely botched, but I got lip filler and they used Juvederm. And like the guy did a pretty good job overall, but because he used Juvederm and the way my body reacts to Juvederm just wasn't great. All the filler went above my lip and I had like a Bart Simpson lip. And you know, I'm not saying that Philly doesn't have good plastic surgeons and you can't get good work done in Philly, but I just had that experience here. And then I also had another experience where I got filler in my chin here and it looked kind of like a foot. Like a foot chin. And I was like, luckily filler can be dissolved, and which I did. I dissolved my filler and got it redone in LA and was happy with my results. So I was like, okay, this is a permanent surgery. I don't want to risk it and get surgery done here. It is cheaper here, but then in the long run have to spend more money and more effort because I want to get a revision rhinoplasty in LA because I didn't like my results here. That was my mind's thoughts about it. Like, I'm not saying that there aren't great doctors here and that I couldn't get an amazing nose job here, but I just did not want to have to run the risk of getting a second one if I didn't like my results. So I was like, let me just go to the best doctor I could find in LA, in Beverly Hills, where like Beverly Hills is known for major plastic surgery and being really great at it. And luckily my best friend Rachel lives there and she was down to help take care of me and let me stay there for like the 2 weeks that I needed to recover. So I just got lucky. I also used to live in LA, so like it kind of worked out that I didn't have to do the whole like hotel situation thing, and I have friends there. But look for the best doctor you could possibly find where you are, and don't just see one doctor. Like, get consultations with a few doctors, look at their work, make sure that you get, well, I'll get into this later, but it's so important. Like, picking your doctor is the most important part of this. Okay, this video is gonna be really long, so bear with me, guys. I hope you don't mind a long ass video. So the next thing is cost. So the cost for my rhinoplasty was $15,000, but I got it discounted due to posting and due to insurance. So I was really lucky on that front. But if you're going to a really, really good doctor, like my doctor, Dr. Simone in Beverly Hills, where you're basically guaranteed not to have your nose botched, the price makes sense and it's worth it. So that was my reasoning for that. I saw doctors here where it would have been like $5,000 to just fix the bridge, but then it'd be maybe like $8,000 or $10,000 to do everything that my doctor did, and that's only $5,000 less. I know $5,000 is still a lot of money, but like in the grand scheme of things, like this is your face, this is your body, this is your life, this is risky, like you're going under anesthesia, there's a lot of risks. So I felt like the money was worth the results, in my opinion. But most rhinoplasties run between like, I'd say $5,000 to $15,000. Usually if you're going to a really good doctor in a state where it's not like LA, Beverly Hills, you're probably gonna pay like $9,000 to $10,000 for a really good rhinoplasty. How did I feel right before surgery? I was a little nervous, but I was really excited. But I was also like, it was also during COVID, so I was all by myself in there. Luckily my doctor and my nurses were so kind and like welcoming and like reassuring. I was like, okay, like this is scary, but like I'm good, like I'm excited for the results, like it's worth it. But yeah, I had a little bit of nerves. And then what did the anesthesia feel like? I don't think I had any bad reactions to the anesthesia or anything like that stood out to me. I know some people get nauseous after or whatever, but basically like they put the thing on my face and like I just like went to sleep. I remember getting on the operating table, it was really warm. They had it like heated, which is really cool. And then they put the thing on my face, they put the IV in my arm, didn't really feel that, breathed in, and then I was just like out. I didn't count to anything, it didn't take a while, I was just like out. And then when I woke up, I was like, where am I? going on. And then I like felt pressure on my face from the cast, but not pain. I only felt like a little bit of a sore throat from the breathing tube that was in there, and that lasted for like 2 days-ish. But the pain medication really helped with that. I never felt nausea. When I woke up, I was just really confused, but I felt like aware of my surroundings, but just really confused about like, oh, I was in the operating room when I went to sleep, and now I'm in the recovery room. What is this? I felt hungry and thirsty, but I really didn't feel pain. It was just more like discomfort. And then the first 3 days were probably the most difficult, and after, like, I was good. And it really just felt like a stuffy, not even a stuffy nose, like a runny nose of blood when I had the what's that thing called? Like the mustache pad thing underneath, because my nose was like leaking blood for like the first 3 days, and then it kind of dried up and it was good. Yeah, and then the recovery time was, for me, it was about a week, and then I went home and like I still had some bruises for like about 2 weeks, and then they went away. But I bruised really easily, and like most people or most doctors will break your nose to put it together, and like they didn't have to do that for me. So my face was a little swollen and bruised, but not nearly as much as it could have been, because I swell and bruise really easily. But because they didn't have to break my nose, like my swelling and bruising was like a minimum compared to a lot of people. The recovery was about a week, and I went home after. But my nose was very swollen like the first 2 weeks, and then it went down a lot. And now we're at like 2 months now, and like my doctor, I saw him a few weeks ago on FaceTime, and he said my nose is still swollen, but I can barely tell. Like, it looks so good to me. The swelling is gonna take anywhere from like 6 months to a year before it's completely healed. So I guess we won't know exactly what it's gonna look like till next October, but I'll keep you guys updated on that for sure. I wrote down some do's and don'ts for basically like before and after the rhinoplasty. So my first thing, be careful about the doctor you pick. There's a lot of plastic surgeons out there, but there's plastic surgeons that specifically specialize in certain areas. So let's say you want to get a boob job. Go to a doctor that specifically specializes in boob jobs. If you want to get a rhinoplasty, go to a doctor that specifically specializes in rhinoplasties or I forget, there's another word for it, like ear, nose, and throat doctor. You want to make sure your rhinoplasty doctor is also an ear, nose, and throat doctor. You want them to know what they're doing in there, and you don't want them to mess it up, and you want to make sure they've done basically the surgery like thousands of times before you're the one getting it done. So be very, very selective and careful about your doctor. Make sure you see their work ahead of time. Make sure you guys are on the same page about what you want your results to be. Luckily, I found my doctor, you know what's funny? I found my doctor on TikTok. Actually, Rachel sent me his TikTok and like the noses that he did, and I was like, these noses are so beautiful. And I actually had seen his surgery center while I was in Beverly Hills. I like driven by it many times, so like I knew he was like a reputable person. I looked at the reviews. You want to make sure you look at the reviews, and yeah, like you really want to do your research, and you want to like make sure you feel it in your gut. Like you want to have a good feeling about it. You want to be like, I made the right decision. You don't want to be questioning it. Like I knew that I made the right decision. Like I felt it in my soul, and like Dr. Simone did an amazing job, and I listened to my gut on that, and like it was right. And yeah, like I would recommend him 10 out of 10 to anyone, but like I said, like he might not be in your budget. You might not be able to come to LA, so just really do your research and don't rush into it. Take your time with it. Like make sure you're making the right decision for yourself, because you can't undo it. You know, I mean, you can get it done again, but you can't undo this. So that's the most important thing. Being on the same page about what you want your results to be with your doctor, and having a really, really good doctor that specializes in rhinoplasties. Don't go to a butt doctor for your nose, you know? Okay, the next thing is knowing what you want. Like you need to know exactly what you want, and you need to be realistic about your results. Like you can't, like I was saying before, you can't expect to get a Madison Beer nose when you have a Julia Gilman nose. You know, you gotta do the corrections that would work best on your face. You can do a lot, you can change a lot, but you can't like change everything. So pick the things that would make you feel better. Also, make sure you find a doctor that will do 3D imaging ahead of time, like this image right here. My doctor clearly does 3D imaging, and we went over what I wanted ahead of time. I also, if you guys know how to edit, this would be a really good idea, is to get either on Facetune, Photoshop, PicMonkey, whatever it is, and edit a photo of what you want your nose to look like. So do the like pinching in, the smoothing out, like all those tools, and edit a photo if you know how to edit. And if you don't know how to edit, you can also do like the whole like take a picture on a black background and like draw draw with marker what parts of your nose you want to like shave off and stuff for like at least a side profile. I don't know about the front. So I feel like knowing what you want ahead of time is like super duper important. You can't just be like going into the doctor and be like, here, just make me, you know, do whatever, give me a new nose. Like, also, like, you should know what you want your results to be. You shouldn't just like, you know, wing it. Next is make sure you have someone that can help you for the first few days. So like a friend or a family member who can help take care of you if you need to pick anything up from the store, if you forgot to get something ahead of time, if you need food. You could also like Postmates and all that stuff, but just like it's good to have somebody like there for like the first, I'd say at least 2 to 3 days max, because by the 3rd day you're gonna be fine. You're probably gonna be up and trying to do work, whatever, moving around. I mean, it's COVID, so you can't really go that many places, but I think it's definitely good to have somebody there to help you out if you need it for like the first 3 days. And food wise, for the first 3 days at least, I would stick to like soft foods like yogurt, mashed potatoes, soup, smoothies, things that like you don't have to open your mouth really wide, because your upper lip is connected to your nose and you're not gonna be able to move it too much. It's gonna be very stiff, and you're also not gonna want to move it because it could hurt a little bit, or it could also just, I don't know if it can mess things up, but it's best to like keep it chill. And you don't want to eat spicy foods right after, or dairy. That's what my nurse said, but I'm vegan, so that wasn't gonna happen anyway, the dairy part at least. Also, you will definitely want to keep Q-tips and hydrogen peroxide around you for the first few weeks so you can clean out your nose of dried blood and boogers, because there's going to be a lot of that. It can get pretty stuffy or uncomfortable, so you definitely want to be able to clean that out. And like I said, your upper lip probably won't work for the first 2 weeks to 3 weeks maybe. Now it works, but still like a little bit, just like ever so slightly stiff. I couldn't smile normally for a while, for at least like 3 weeks, and I couldn't really move my upper lip for like 2 weeks, and it was very stiff and just like covering my teeth basically. It was just, I don't know, I called it like a dead lip. I don't know if that happens to everyone, but that happened to me, and I just looked silly. After you get the cast off, you're gonna want to tape it every night for, my doctor said the first month, but like I still have extra tape. I'm at the almost 2 months now, so I'm still taping it every night. You can also tape it during the day during COVID because we wear masks, but I think it's really important to tape it to get the swelling to go down faster. And my bruises fully went away after 2 weeks. I still have dark circles from the surgery, but they're slowly going away. They were way darker like a month ago, but now they're like fading, luckily. So you might have dark circles for like a month or 2, give or take. I don't know, depends on your genetics, I guess. This one's very important. Research things that you can and can't do before surgery. I'm sure your doctor will go over that with you, but it's very important that you don't drink alcohol, smoke, drink matcha was like something. I don't know if that's a good thing for everyone. Take ibuprofen. There's like a list of things you can't do before surgery, or else it can mess up some things and then you won't be able to have your surgery. So just make sure you're educated on that. And then things that you can't do after surgery, make sure you look into those so you don't mess up your results. You just want to be really careful about that. Like, you don't want to wear glasses for at least a year till your nose is healed. And then some things that I've noticed is like, and I did all these things, and you're probably gonna do them too because it's just human nature to do them, but like you have to try to do it at a minimum. No smiling, laughing, yawning, crying till your nose is basically like healed. I'd say at least like a month. And you can't really move your nose. Like for a little bit, like I barely, it's like 2 months now and I can barely move my nose. It kind of hurts a little if I do that, so I don't want to do that. You just don't want to do anything if it hurts it, because then I think you're putting your nose at risk, in my opinion. I don't know. I read somewhere that not to do the laughing, yawning, crying thing, or sneezing, but I did all those things and I'm fine. I would just say be careful about it and try to keep it at a minimum. Like, if you can avoid moving your face too much, avoid it. I know, it's easier said than done. And the last don't that I have is you're gonna have to use this nasal spray called Afrin for the first week. Don't use it past a week. It basically unclogs your nose, but you can get dependent on it, like I did. And I used it for 3 weeks, and then I was like, whoa, that's not good, and I cut it out cold turkey. Listen to your doctor on that. Don't use it for more than a week. Now let's go ahead and get into our Q&A questions. First question we have said, if you could choose not to get the nose job done, would you? Oh my god, no. Like, I am so glad, thankful, grateful, everything for this nose job. It has like honestly raised my confidence a lot. I don't know, I wouldn't recommend it to everyone, but like depending on what your career path is and like how you feel about certain things on your body, your face, whatever, I would suggest investing in changing things that would make you feel better. Like, personally for me, I am on camera at least every week, multiple times. If I'm taking a photo, taking a video, whatever it is, like, I have to look at my face a lot. But at this point, there's not that many things that I would have changed, and nose job was like the #1 thing that I would have changed always. Or getting a nose job was the number one thing that I would have done always. So like doing this has helped me a lot. It makes me want to be on camera more. It makes my life easier. It makes me have to edit my photos less. It makes me have to move the lighting around and this and that to get the nose lighting good enough that I feel good about my nose to film. Like it just saves time and energy and stress, and honestly helped improve my confidence. And I'm so glad that I did it. How much out-of-pocket expense and did insurance pay for any of it? Yes, insurance did pay for a little bit of it, but because like the inside of my nose was fine, like I didn't need like a septoplasty, I don't think I used that much insurance. But if you have to do like a septoplasty on top of a rhinoplasty, insurance is going to cover the full inner of your nose, because that is a medical health problem. Even though mine was a trauma, I don't think insurance really covers that as much, but they covered a little bit of it. I'm not exactly sure on the exact price. Next question. Do you like your nose now? Yes, I love it. Thank you for asking, Paige. Did you get it because you were insecure about your nose, or only because you injured it multiple times? I got it, yes, because I was insecure about my nose, and yes, because I injured it multiple times. Both reasons. The injury was what like gave me the push to do it, but I always wanted to do it for the insecurity reason as well. But I never felt like the need to just go and do it, but the injury was like, oh, bitch, it's time to do it. How long was the recovery? BTW, I love you so much. I love you too. And the recovery was 1 week with the cast, and then I guess it's like a year of like recovering, but like it's not, you don't really feel it after you get the cast off. It's just like a little tender for like the first month, and then I think it's still a little sore, but unless I'm like hitting it, which don't do. Why would you do that? If you just get a nose job, you don't want to mess it up. You're not going to feel pain, really. My friend Sierra said, was Beverly Hills Best Doctor expensive? Yes. Absolutely expensive, but well worth it. Dr. Simone's nose jobs are $15,000. Courtney Ray said, how is the healing process? Time/pain wise, I want to get one so bad, but that part scares me. The healing process, like I was really scared about that too, but it's only like really uncomfortable for 3 days, and then like the rest is a breeze, I would say. At least for me personally, like yes, you're gonna feel uncomfortable with a cast on your face. It's gonna get a little itchy maybe, but like pain, no. Like pain's very minimum. Discomfort, yes. Of course you're gonna feel discomfort, like you're changing a piece of your body, but pain, not that bad, seriously. Like I would do it again. I genuinely would do it again if I needed to, which knock on wood, I don't need to. If I would have known how this was beforehand, I would have done it way sooner. I would have done it maybe when I turned 18, honestly. And then time, 1 week, cast off, and you're good. Don't be scared. Desi said, what drove you to getting a nose job? And by the way, you look amazing, Illy. What drove me was my injury in August. Obviously, like, I had wanted to do this for a while, but that was like the final straw for me. I was like, you know what, I'm doing it. Joanne said, how did you choose which nose shape to get? And were you perhaps inspired by someone else's nose, or did the doctor suggest something? Okay, so how I chose the nose shape, which I explained earlier, was through editing it on, I think it was Facetune. Editing it on Facetune. I've been editing my nose and my photos for years, so like I already kind of knew what I wanted because of that. And then I just like, you know, I went in on the edit. Like I didn't just like edit a little bit, post to Instagram. I edited like the whole thing, so it'd be ideally what I wanted, not just like a little nip tuck. It was like, oh, we're gonna nip and tuck everything. I chose my nose shape by editing a photo of myself till I liked the shape of my nose. I wasn't really inspired by anyone else's nose. I mean, there's obviously cute noses out there, and I'm like, ooh, your nose is really cute and slopey and I like it, and buttony. Yeah, but like I didn't look at anyone else's nose particularly to edit it like that. Did the doctor suggest anything? Kind of. Like I explained to him my vision, and then he explained what he has to do to create that. So like he did suggest like the measurements that we need to take to get there, but I told him what I wanted. And that is it for our questions. Thank you guys so much for leaving me questions. If you guys want to see a nose job Q&A part 2 in the future, or updates on what it looks like in 3, 6 months, a year, let me know in the comments down below and leave your questions for that. And that is it for this video. So make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification button. I post new videos every Saturday at 3 p.m. EST, 12 p.m. PST. And give this video a big thumbs up if you have followed my entire nose job journey up until now. And if you have missed all of my nose job vlogs up until this point, you can go watch them. They are all linked in the description, or the eye, or at the end. And that's it for this video, so you can either click my previous video at the end, or you can catch me in next week's video. Love you. Bye.